I was gonna save this topic till I got 100 subscribers, but wow, that was fast. 100 subscribers in a total of 7 months on YouTube doesn't seem that much to many, but to me it means a lot. So I figured I'd share a bit more about myself by telling you my top 10 favorite video game franchises. There are a couple of rules though. First off, no licensed video games. Sorry Nicktoons games, I love you, but no, just no. Next, spin-offs will count with the main series, so no Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, Mario Party, none of that. But crossovers do not count as spin-offs, so crossovers are allowed. Now one more thing, this list is completely my opinion only, so if there's a franchise you don't like on here, or if there's no franchises that you like on here, please be kind and share your opinions in the comments below, kindly. With that said, let's begin my top 10 favorite video game franchises. I was debating heavily whether or not to put this franchise on the list since I couldn't decide if it was a crossover or a licensed game. In the end, I decided with crossover. I was also debating because I couldn't decide whether or not it was good enough to be on this list because, honestly, I don't really care much for any of the characters or the story. The story is nothing but a jumbled mess and it makes it feel like the developers were just making it up as they go along because they didn't know what they were doing. The characters are more boring than a cardboard box, making it hard to feel for them when there's something serious going on.
No! Shion! Who else will I have ice cream with?
Now you're probably asking yourself, why did I even put it on this list if I'm complaining about it so much? The reason is the gameplay and the soundtrack. Now for me, the gameplay is one of the most important factors I look for when deciding whether a game is good or bad. And the gameplay of Kingdom Hearts is near perfection. It's very smooth, there are almost no glitches, and it's just so addicting to hack and slash at these puny little heartless. And the soundtrack, oh, the soundtrack is just magical. It has to be in my top 10 favorite video game soundtracks of all time. The main series games like Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and hopefully 3 when it comes out, are where everything really shines. I tried playing the spin-offs, but honestly, you do not want to bother with those. 358 days, .2711, birth by drop distance, HD .7 remix. Don't bother with those at all. They are not worth your time. Ribbit, 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 ribbit. Frog noises! Oh, Frogger. This entry on the list is nothing but a blast of nostalgia. Frogger for the PlayStation 1 was my very first video game, and ever since then I've been a Frogger enthusiast. Except for those, other 3D Frogger games that I despise and never want to see again. But for me, Frogger 1 on the PlayStation 1 is a masterpiece. Frogger 2 is okay, but the classic arcade Frogger is really fun and I just can't stop playing it. I don't know how to feel about this franchise, it's mainly just mostly nostalgia that keeps it on here, but I love it. I actually don't know what to say now. There's not really much to talk about, it's just a frog rescuing its babies. It's a frog. Please don't make me talk about this franchise because I know no matter what I say, no matter what I do, some Sonic fanboy is gonna be angry. And I know this to be true because I used to be one of them. Oh yes, I made Sonic fan characters. I wrote Sonic fan fiction. Don't remind me of the past. Yeah, I was the worst of the worst when it came to Sonic fanboys. But now I've changed and I can see that this franchise is completely terrible. The Sonic series is a complete mess. And I don't want to sound like a classic fanboy, but the older games were a lot better. I have given the new ones a chance, but I just keep going back to the older ones. Sonic is more of a guilty pleasure for me because it's bad, I know it's bad, but I still like it. Now can we please move on before I start having nightmares of recolors?
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was.
Yes, it's Pokemon! I grew up with the Game Boy Advanced, and surprisingly, Pokemon wasn't in my childhood? What? You see, I didn't get a chance to play Pokemon until I had a Nintendo DS because my mom, unfortunately, was one of those people who thought Pokemon was evil and bad and, that stuff. Which is confusing because suddenly, one Christmas morning, I find Pokemon Platinum in my stocking. I don't even know why she bought it. Did she forget that she thought it was evil? Because I didn't even ask for it. I was very confused, but I didn't say anything because I was just happy I finally got to play Pokemon and see what all the fuss was about. And dude, this franchise is amazing. I soon started emulating the older games and beat those. I then watched the anime, but my favorite will always be Pokemon Platinum. And just earlier this year, I finally caught them all. This game stole my life. I have put so many hours into Hat Simulator 2. Team Fortress 2. Where do I even begin? Team Fortress 2 differs from so many other first-person shooter games. There are 9 different classes to choose from. None of them are similar to each other, making them feel super diverse. I've even made a top 9 video about them. Go check it out. There are also tons of maps to choose from, however most of them do take place in the desert. It does sound pretty boring, but this problem can be fixed since users can create their own maps, and the user-created maps are amazing. I've spent so much time and money on this game it's not even funny, but the Conga Taunt was totally worth it. It's definitely a fun game to play when you're bored, and you can actually make some really good friends on there. Just don't use Pyro, you'll ruin everyone's day. If you grew up with a PlayStation 1, you know why this next franchise is on here. Crash Bandicoot. Before I knew what a Sonic was, this was my obsession. This is what I was a major fanboy of. And I still am. Even though he's been forgotten by many as he's faded into nothingness, his games on the PlayStation 1 still have a warm place in my heart. Even though Twinsanity is my favorite in the franchise, there's no denying that the original trilogy is a powerhouse and still holds up today. Not to mention, it also has my favorite video game villain of all time. Dr. Neocortex is hilarious. The spin-off games are loads of fun too. I cannot tell you how much time I've spent playing them with my siblings. Crash Bash, Nitro Kart, Tag Team Racing, and more. Crash Bandicoot may be gone now, but hopefully someday he will return and be better than ever. I hope. Please. The Super Mario franchise is a franchise that I regret not playing until just recently. I would always just avoid Mario like, Sonic's better, until last year I gave Super Mario Galaxy 2 a try, and I was blown away. The levels, the colors, the soundtrack, I just had to have more. After I beat that game, I completely forgot about Sonic. I was just playing Mario Galaxy, Mario 64, I went to play some of the 2D Mario games and they were just as good. I was Mario fanboy now. And there's just something about the Mario fanbase that's more warm and inviting than the cold, dark Sonic fanbase. Mario was my true introduction into the world of Nintendo, and I've been loving it ever since. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna hurry up and finish this list so I can go play more board games, go kart racing, play tennis, and Another franchise you may remember if you grew up with the PlayStation is Ape Escape. This was the first game to utilize PlayStation's analog controllers. As a child, this blew my mind as I had never seen an analog stick before, since I grew up with the PlayStation 1 only, and I didn't live near any arcades. Like the Crash Bandicoot franchise, the first 3 games were amazing, and then it sort of faded into oblivion and became nothing. The gameplay of these games revolved around you traveling to different time periods and locations to catch monkeys with your net. It was quite a simple concept, but it was so addicting to chase these monkeys down and finally catch them. There are also some really cool gadgets you can unlock that will assist you in catching monkeys and can also get you to places that you couldn't reach before. It's a truly fun experience, and like Crash Bandicoot, I hope it returns someday. Please, what is it with these PlayStation games?
Number 2 is Super Smash Bros. I have spent countless hours on this franchise,
doing everything there is to do in each installment. My personal favorite game in the series being Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Well, that is until the new game came out, but I liked that one because of how simple it was to mod. And I'm going to make a lot of people angry when I say this, but Melee was overrated! Just because you can wave dash and L cancel doesn't make it better. The Super Smash Bros. Series is truly the greatest multiplayer experience you could get in any video game. Many have tried to make money with their own versions, but nothing compares to the magic of the original. Masahiro Sakurai is a genius! Now, on to my #1 favorite video game franchise of all time. If you've been on my channel long enough, you should know what #1 is. That's right, it's Tekken. The gameplay is perfect, the story is interesting, the characters I love. I've played all the games, I've read the manga, I've watched all the movies even though none of them were good. But enough about those horrible movies, we're talking about the games here. The Tekken franchise keeps dishing out new and amazing games to keep the fighting genre alive, while other games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat cling to Tekken's back with nothing but HD remakes and poor gimmicks. Tekken is a very difficult game to master, but it's very fun to play and a lot more competitive. Now, like I said with Super Smash Bros. At #2, competitive doesn't always make it better, but trust me, if you've seen a Street Fighter tournament, you'd know what I mean. It goes a little something like this. Hadouken! 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 Shoryuken! Shoryuken! Hadouken! Hadouken! Shoryuken! Basically that for 5 minutes straight. Tekken is just an all-around better franchise and my personal favorite, and I don't think anything is going to take its place for a long time.